Hello, my name's Tessa St John Hughes, and I'm going to talk to you now about some of my personal experiences of mystic phenomena, psychic phenomena. And if you enjoy hearing these stories and you have any problems or difficulties with your own experiences, you might like to come and talk to me, and we can explore them and find out what the purpose of these experiences are for you. When I was 27, my father died very suddenly, and shortly afterwards I had to go to another country to sort out some things to do with his estate. Somebody I knew invited me to meet another friend at lunch, and this other friend said, "You must go and see this fortune teller, this person." So, not knowing anything about her, I went and sat down in her room, and after about 20 minutes she suddenly clutched her head and said, "Oh, darling," she said, "I've got a man here who's so excited to see you, I can't get a word of sense out of him." Well, my father was a naval officer, and he used to thump the table like this and say, "Never forget, children, this family is ruled by the Naval Discipline Act. Might is right." So at the end of the session, when she was telling me all sorts of things that were very pertinent to what I was going to have to sort out, I thought, how can she know all this? Surely, is this really my father from beyond the grave? Is this happening? You know, what's happening? And she said, "Now, darling, we're going to have to say a prayer to send him back." So while she was saying the prayer, I sat, and she said, "He didn't want to go. He wanted me to tell you this." And she got her hand and started thumping. And she said, "He did this and said to tell you that might is right." Well, I tell you, my hair stood on end, because I suddenly knew. And it was different from knowing it in my head. I knew it here, deep down in my truth, that this was for real, and that my father actually lived somewhere in another dimension, but he was still around, because that was a message, and it wasn't anything that anybody could have made up. And I remember going down the stairs and getting to my car, floating out a good 2 inches above the ground. So that was the beginning. There were other things that had happened earlier in life, but they'd never been taken seriously, so I probably forgot about them and didn't do anything about them. But shortly after that, I was in Australia, and I had a very powerful dream where I dreamt I was back in England, and that some friends of mine had had a pregnancy end very suddenly. And I thought, that's funny. Oh well, I'll remember that and ask when I get back, because my friend was very upset. He said that his wife had lost another baby. When I got back to England, I've met some mutual friends and asked how these people were. I was told that they were having another baby. So I said, "Well, has she had any trouble?" And there was a big shock. "How did you know?" I said, "Well, will you tell me what happened?" And she said, "Well, she had a miscarriage, and then things weren't right, and they found she was still carrying a child, and that baby is due to be born." And it was exactly the date of my dream that the miscarriage had happened. So somewhere from across the world, I had astral traveled to England to connect with a friend, to learn that he was in deep distress. It was a very powerful experience, but it wasn't the first time that I've had these out-of-body state dreams. And a few years ago, after the death of my brother, I went in dream again to another dimension, which this dream has been written about in various books on dream state, because it was a very important dream. It was a dream where I actually went to the heaven state level, and I found my brother, and it was the most beautiful, beautiful, lovely. The feeling was warmth, it was colourful, there was music, there was dancing. He was standing there with his arms round 2 pretty girls. He'd been paralysed and brain damaged for 25 years before he left his body. So there he was, completely happy, And I said, "Oh, I'm so glad you're happy. I can't stay here yet. I've got to go back down." And at that moment I was sitting bolt upright in my bed. Oh my God, where did I go? That was lovely. And it was a very, very powerful, very difficult to live with dream, because when you live in this world, there are difficult feelings and there are difficult experiences. And that world just seemed to be so beautiful that I kept wanting to go back. But I'm still here, and I still have information, and I still have help to give and experiences to share. The main bulk of my mystical experience came after the death of my new partner and the love of my life, who died the day after we decided we wanted to marry. And we were both recovering alcoholics, so it was quite a difficult time for me to stay sober through such an enormous shock. And the only thing I could do was to stay in the day and to take each day as it came, and to do lots and lots and lots of group work so that I could stay healthy and sane in myself. And it's been a huge blessing, even though one doesn't always like the things that happen to us when we make spiritual growth. They're always blessings in disguise. And if John hadn't died when he did, I wouldn't be the woman that I am today. And what I've learnt from that was so much more than I would have learnt from any of the trainings and qualifications that I have. Because there's nothing like the actual knowledge as being an empowerment. Learning that who I really am is an eternal being has given me huge depth and strength, which you don't just get from taking pills or reading glossy magazines. If I can help you, please contact me. I have many, many more stories. These are just 2 or 3 tasters of some of my experiences. But I have a lot of information about out-of-body states, past life states. Keep following my website and you will, perhaps, we'll get to meet one day. Thank you for listening. God bless you.